are back on the Infinity Factory, and I'm talking with Chica Bruce about things Montaukian.
Yes.
And I guess that probably this is probably going to be the beginning of the second part of the show for anybody watching this on television. So just to recap, Chica and I went out to Montauk, Long Island, and we spoke with Preston B. Nichols, the author of the several of the Montauk Project books, and also Stuart Swerdlow, who wrote the 6th Montauk Project book. And I interviewed Chica, and we're talking about a piece that's going to air. It's the first segment of the Disinformation series that's probably, I guess, going to start in September on British television on Channel 4. The Montauk Project purports to be a massive experiment in mind control, teleportation, time travel that was allegedly taking place in an disused Air Force base, decommissioned Air Force base in Montauk Point, Long Island, where rogue elements of the U.S. military, several different kinds of alien races, and according to Preston B. Nichols, one reptilian being who was rude to him worked. And I'm saying that, like, the participants in this who I met were, as I've said in the last few segments, the most marginal individuals. Well, Preston, not necessarily Stuart, but the most marginal individuals that I've met.
Well, you're talking about one guy, the most marginal individual.
All right, let's call it for what it is. Preston is a very strange guy, and the way that the piece ends, basically, is I feel like just, again, anybody who would have watched this would come to the conclusion that this is this made-up thing. It's like he's a fat fibber who has made up this thing that he's gotten other people to be involved in. Not like an intentional cult leader, but like somebody who told a story, found a few people who were willing to listen to him, and a sort of again, I don't want to say it's a cult because I don't think that's what his agenda is. I think it's just like there are other people who believe this, so it's kind of like a Dungeons and Dragons game that got really out of hand. That's to me is you know, it's like that's.
I can totally see that.
You know, I
can totally see that, and I bet you. I think that for some people who are, you know, get themselves involved in this stuff, that's certainly the case.
Well, okay, Chica, you on camera, talked about two young men, not over the age of 18. Should be pointed out.
Well, one was 19.
Well, yeah, but I mean, but they're of legal age, age of consent. So there's no issues involving that kind of thing.
Correct.
But we need to be clear about that. But that they were. Their memories had been implanted and deprogrammed, and they'd had their minds scrambled by some supposedly, again, some kind of mind control and time travel thing that they were not supposed to remember, and that in order to help them, they had to be deprogrammed. Now that deprogramming, which is called, has been referred to variously as tantric massage, Reichian techniques, and everybody knows what that means. I mean, it's like, I mean, the heavy on the symbolism there. I mean, please, it's talking about orgone energy, i.e., sexual energy, and sort of the idea that these men were sort of entranced in their original programming, that they were deprogrammed in the same manner by this Jabba the Hutt.
That was the theory, that the way to undo what had been done to them needed to get them back into the same state, and
that it was a sexual thing.
Well, I mean, they were programmed in an
state of arousal.
Yeah, state of it was like subliminally programmed in a state of arousal. And
there is some truth to that kind of thing.
I mean, it's true, and it works, and it is a thing. It's bona fide. It's just, and so you can see that was the thinking behind it. And you could look at it and you could call it a weirdo homo jerk-off cult, too. I mean,
The Montauk Project may indeed be a big circle jerk, is what...
well...
You have to be willing to admit that.
Yeah, I think that there's there could be elements of that, but I don't consider Stuart Swerdlow to be party to anything of the kind, or Duncan Cameron.
Wait. Stuart Swerdlow writes in his book, the Reichian therapy is his term, and he says that I'm not quoting him from memory, but he says that the deprogramming was rather invasive, and that he felt that it was too invasive, and felt uncomfortable and wished to
right. But
and also someone else who was interviewed for this piece, who will remain nameless now, says that Duncan was involved and that he feels very ashamed of himself for having been a party to the deprogramming.
Yes. Well, yeah.
Well, but I'm just saying that contradicts what you just said. I mean, that they were involved in this stuff.
Well, no, Duncan, also was deprogrammed that way. And what I'm trying to tell you is that it's not that they harbored secret desires to be, jacked off by Preston Nichols. And that's what I'm trying to tell you. It's not really a circle jerk, homo like tantric massage cult.
And yet,
yes,
that's, to me, that seems to be the only way to explain the whole thing, or that it got out of hand, that it wasn't originally that, perhaps, but that it became that because
Well, right now, I mean, Preston isn't deprogramming anyone. I think he's laying low with that activity.
Yeah, but if he did, because the Suffolk County sheriff is probably going to visit his house and say, "What's this with the jerk off of the Satan teens?"
Yeah, the Satan teens, exactly.
Okay, so and so let's get to that. I mean, you talk about a young man, who was a Satanist, and just to, I mean, I'll ask the question. I'm picturing sort of like a heavy metal kind of kid.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
correct.
Now, you knew this guy.
Yes, I did. Yes.
Okay, never mind.
No, he had grown up in foster homes and in juvie halls and in mental institutions his whole life, and he went to one of these Montauk lectures and began to believe,
and it just crawled up in his pants, and he decided that he was a Montauk boy. And the next thing,
he's getting deprogrammed. So I'm thinking this is inappropriate. The poor guy had already spent his whole life in institutional facilities, and the last thing he needed was to be exposed to
this unorthodox therapy.
Exactly. So I had some problems with that.
Right, but here's the thing. It's like, okay, we're talking about you personally, and I mean, you were intimately involved with this in terms of being a Montauk participant.
I was writing a book about this guy, but then it just got too weird, and I also didn't think it was in his best interest for me to continue with the project.
Okay, well,
so I was like, you know what, this poor kid needs to just like heal his life, and so that's why I backed off.
Okay, but let's count up the individuals who have been deprogrammed.
Yeah.
Okay, if you've met personally about 10, there's probably 6 who have been deprogrammed.
The ones that I've personally met that have been deprogrammed in this manner.
Yes.
And I know that there are more because I've met some that.
And as Preston called it, very controversial.
Yes.
Manner.
Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4. I know personally 5.
Half of them have been involved in this. I mean, don't you think that there's something to be said for the fact that this could be some?
There's definitely been at least 20 or so
who have been deprogrammed
this way. Yes.
I mean, for fuck's sake. I mean, you tell me. Is this a conspiracy theory, or is it the conspiracy to get a little action? I mean, Preston doesn't seem like he has that much success with the babes, if he's interested at all. Right. He hasn't attempted to deprogram you.
Correct.
Do you think he's going to?
No.
He appeared to have absolutely no interest in talking with you or Vanessa, and you're both very attractive women.
That's correct. He doesn't seem to care, and that's something I've noticed with other Montaukians.
Yeah,
they don't really seem to
not that in of itself is a thing, but I'm just saying it's like there's this homoerotic element.
There's a range of response that I'm used to from men, and I don't get the usual response from them.
But I did.
You did? He was looking you up and down?
Well, he was trying to feel your aura.
No,
he says, I say to him, he says at one point that he's able to recognize the Montauk boys by scanning. He goes, I do it close on through hand scans, unquote.
Yes.
Scanning their aura and their frequency.
Yes.
And he says it's to find a certain kind of code. He said it's almost like your aura shows that you have Hollerith code, the old mainframe programming language, that you can read this kind of code. And he was saying, like, well, you can't just pick this up from operating your PC, because it's not even coded that way, but... Yeah. Like as if it would bleed through or something like that if you've been programmed.
Well, that's based on the idea, which I don't know if you're familiar with it or not, that your DNA is like a physical expression of your mind pattern, or the whole frequency of your soul and your being and your essence.
There's a lot to be said for that. It's not just the soul; it's the history of our race.
Yeah,
or, our ancestry.
But it's also like as your consciousness is locked into that, and and so basically there's an energetic signature that's readable to psychics.
Right. So but let's face it. I mean, psychics have throughout history, I'm sure you'll agree with this, built people with their psychic abilities or their claims of psychic abilities. I think, once again, this is a guy...
plenty of non-psychics have built people with no psychic claims whatsoever. What the hell are you saying?
I'm saying that I saw Preston, I've read his books, I listened to him talk about this, and I have talked to you. I've read Stuart Swerdlow's book, and I heard it from your friend, who I want to get into in a second, who told us the great story about going to the party with you, Zamian, and Morgan, this guy. And I'm getting the thing. But what I saw was somebody who offering a very elaborate methodology. It's sort of like a Star Trek fans. Come on.
Yeah, but if it was
homosexual,
true, but it was really about that. I mean, because the participants weren't really into. They're not gay and they're not into that.
And yet they were
hoodwinked.
Yeah, hoodwinked. They were jerked off by this dude. Come on. Anyways, we're gonna take another break, and I'm Richard Betzker. You're watching The Infinity Factory, and we're talking with Chica Bruce, paranormal investigator, about the Montauk Project. So stick around. I'm sure it's only gonna get better.
This higher level of consciousness, functioning normally and naturally for an indefinite period of time, and you may continue meditating from this point. I am leaving.
All right, okay, so back on the Infinity Factory, we're talking with Chica Bruce, and I mean, wrapping up on this whole Montauk thing. It's been sort of a debriefing session, hasn't it?
Yes.
I mean, we also went out to the base, and you and Vanessa went out there on your own, and then I went out and saw it, and it's there, and it's true to say that there are bunkers. It's a state park, and there are lots of hazardous waste signs up, and there's an antenna there.
The antenna was also repaired recently. There's evidence of that, and that's sort of interesting in and of itself for a non-operational facility to have a repaired radar antenna. I mean, that's interesting.
Sure.
So that's what I have to say. I mean, I think that Montauk is more than just a homosexual masturbatory cult, and I think that it begs your attention. I think, and
I gave it attention.
Yes. No. Well, basically, I think that this book that I'm coming out with is grounded, and it's not trying to prove anything, and it's not certainly only about Montauk. It's about basically a body of conspiracy stuff, like going back to the Dulce Wars, which I don't know if you've ever heard of, and Philadelphia Experiment and stuff. And it's just a new way to look at this information. And
have you been reading Grant Morrison's Invisibles comic?
No.
Well, it's all about this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Because Dulce has been coming up and all that. Like,
yeah.
And Area 51.
Right.
It's great. Everybody should read The Invisibles. It's the best comic I've ever seen.
Cool. Well, I just think it's I think it's totally worthwhile reading and thinking material.
Okay. So in summing up, I mean, I would say that you say that it's not what I say it is.
Right. I don't think you don't know the least of it, and you're just reacting to the jerk off thing.
Well, I was going to say I think the least of it. I mean, yeah, you could say that, but it's. I mean, I was there. I mean, I was there. I was just going to say, you say that I'm wrong when I say it's this sort of, these overgrown Trekkie types who had a Dungeons and Dragons sort of scenario go way out of hand, right? But this, I think it needs to be said, is that the Suffolk County Sheriff is aware of this kind of stuff, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so let's agree to disagree. I say that it's a masturbatory fantasy of some marginal individuals.
And I say
very strange belief system, and you say that it's not.
No.
Let's agree to disagree on this.
Very good.
What is your newest obsession with this Ong's hat thing that you have brought to my attention? Now, Ong's hat, by the way, is there's information on Ong's hat, ONG'(S) hat, Ong's hat.
Yes.
On the deoxy.org website that our friend Dimitri does. So.
Yeah, and it's another time travel story, and the reason why I like it so much is because it doesn't have any of this sort of slobbering worship of military intelligence and particle accelerators and Nazis and aliens,
reptoid beings,
and or any of that.
No, there's no jerking off.
Any of that homosexual jerking off, cults, repressed homo-closeted thing happening. It's completely free and clear and devoid of all this.
Is that right?
To my knowledge. It'll probably rear its ugly head.
This could be a very rude awakening for you when you find out about the truth of Ong's hat. But
no, I think that there were some female homosexuals involved at one point in the founding of this. It was a cult of just the most, talk about marginal. See, that's what I like. I guess I like marginal. and you know, just like dropout quantum physicists and heroin dealers and hydroponic pot growers and
my kind of people.
Totally.
Well, I mean, admittedly, this does sound a bit more
sexy.
That might be the word, but I mean, you know, the Montauk Project was about as sexy as a mold growth on your bathroom floor. So, you know, wait, what did you say, Vanessa? Fragrant.
Oh, yeah.
There's less spam involved.
Yeah.
Did whatever. More beefs, whatever. I mean, again, you know, you know.
We're gonna go out to Ong's Hat.
I gotta stop with this Montauk stuff.
Yeah, it's all over now.
It's gonna get me nowhere. Back to Ong's Hat.
Yes, we're gonna go down there, and we're gonna. I think we're gonna have fun.
Well, here's what I think we should do. Is that Doug Stone, who's producer, does an independent producer, who's doing a lot of stuff for Sundance. Is that you and he should go down and figure out. First of all, find out where Ong's Hat was. Ong's Hat, incidentally, was a town in New Jersey, and there's a book that you can buy on Amazon called Forgotten Towns of New Jersey.
Yeah.
And there's a website as well. If you look up Ong's Hat, you will find info on this. And I think if you go to the deoxy.org site, it links to all this stuff as well. But it was a place. It was what's the legend? It's this guy, Ong, threw his hat up in the air and it didn't come back down. And they don't know what happened to it.
Yep.
It went into a parallel dimension.
Exactly.
Or got caught in a tree or something.
Exactly. And that's these people claim to be traveling to parallel universes that are empty and devoid of Nazis and aliens.
Right.
Which is nice, a nice switch, a nice change from the Montaukian version of what's going on in the parallel universes. So I would like to see if I can track down some of these folks, because my publisher is in touch with some of them, and
cool.
And we'll see what happens, where it takes us.
It'll be just
see if we can get the camera through the interdimensional portal. That'd be very cool.
That would make damn good television.
Yeah,
Chica.
sure would.
So and I think and after that, you know that they're going to have to give you your own show.
I hope so.
The Adventures of Chica Bruce, Time Travel Babe. So thanks once again for being on the show.
You.
It was very amusing.
Yes. Charmed, I'm sure.
Yeah, playing tennis with you. wait, one last thing. What did the guy that what did he say to you? That your cheese had
my cheese done slipped off my cracker.
And on that note, people, this has been Richard Metzger. This is the Infinity Factory. We've been talking with Chica Bruce, author of the forthcoming book.
Yes, The Philadelphia Experiment Murder, an Insider's Look at Montauk.
There you go.
You gotta have it.
And Ong's Hat.
And Ong's Hat's next.
Okay, so, cheerio.
Ciao.